Chairman Couch, Board of Supervisors. My name is Tom Pavich, P-A-V-I-C-H. I'm the Kern County Coordinator for the Election Integrity Project, California. We just experienced our second presidential general election whereby we voted with 100% mail-out ballots. The first one was in 2020. We've had 4 years to prepare. The big story was the 3-hour line at the elections office on election night. The last ballot was cast and dropped off into the slot at 10:49, just short of 3 hours after the polls closing. Our voting system is immensely more complicated now than ever before when we voted in person. Then 98% of the ballots were cast in person and 2% were absentee. Now 10% or even less are cast in person on election day, and more than 90% are cast by mail, drop box, or drop off. Unfortunately, our elections department was unprepared. Even though turnout projections are known, the elections office was not prepared. When there's a 3-hour line, this disenfranchises potential voters. Voter suppression takes place. When the word gets out and when somebody drives up into the parking lot and the line snakes around the building, voters are turned away. They don't vote. The Board of Supervisors approved an ordinance in the mid-90s to consolidate 4 departments: auditor, controller, clerk, and registrar. Apparently it was done at the time to save cost. It's time to revisit that ordinance. In order to improve efficiency and save costs, the registrar's office should be split off, and a separate person should head this department with sole responsibility over elections. The sooner the better. Thank you.
My name is Glenn Clayton. That's C-L-A-Y-T-O-N. We have become aware that you have been served with a cease and desist letter, October 15, 2024. These were served to Supervisor Philip Peters, County District 1, Supervisor Leticia Perez, County District 5, Supervisor Jeff Flores, County District 3, Supervisor Zach Scribner, County District 2, Margot Raison, County Council, Supervisor David Couch, Chairman, District 4, Amy Espinoza, County Clerk, ROV Recorder of Kern County. These were all served. The letter begins by, Dear Sir, Madam, the state of California has passed AB 969, enacted in October of 2023, using the urgency clause. The bill states the bill would declare that it is to take effect immediately as an urgency statute. Section 2 of the bill states this act is an urgency statute necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety within the meaning of Article 4 of the California Constitution and shall go into immediate effect. The facts constituting the necessity are: in order to ensue that county election officials know what voting system they will be using, particularly with the upcoming 2024 March presidential primary, it is necessary for this act to take effect immediately. The California Constitution, Article 4, Section 8D states, in pertinent part, urgency statutes are those necessary for immediate preservation of the public peace, health, or safety. A statement of facts constituting the necessity shall be set forth in one section of the bill. Thank you very much.
We're now on page 2 of the letter, if you've got the material.
Yep, we do.
So section 2 fails to state any supporting facts supporting the assertion of a threat of public peace, health, or safety. In this Assembly bill, there are no facts stating either any election official was unaware of what the voting system they would be using, or any facts amounting to an urgency within the meaning of the California Constitution, Article 4. Additionally, voting by citizens that is accurately counted does not impact public peace, health, or safety. Thus, there is absolutely no logical, legal, or constitutional basis for the alleged urgency. Therefore, the use of urgency, the urgency clause to bypass normal legislative process was and is unlawful and deprived the citizens of California of an opportunity for public referendum. Misusing this urgency clause to avoid checks on legislation and prevent public input is an abuse of legislative authority. It prevents the citizens from having a voice in the legislative process as required by the California State Constitution. Article 2, Section 9 of the California Constitution provides for the referendum process of California. Citizens have the power to approve or reject statutes or part of statutes, except for the urgency clause and some other fiscal exceptions. If the legislature had not improperly used the process reserved for public health, safety, emergencies, the citizens of California would have reviewed and challenged the law by referendum pursuant to Article 2, Section 9 of the California State Constitution. Thank you.
Ron Barger.
Morning.
You've been placed in the unfortunate position where you're unable to conduct the 2024 general election without breaking either state or federal laws. You cannot comply with the newly enacted state laws without breaking the federal laws. You cannot comply with the federal laws without breaking this newly enacted state law. Additional reasons to cease and desist: the application of the Help American Vote Act. The Help American Vote Act of 2002, hereinafter HAVA, requires accurate voter rolls to be maintained by the local jurisdiction. California counties have hundreds and even thousands of ineligible voters on their rolls. This violates HAVA requirements for accuracy and compliance in the elections, including the voter rolls. You know this because the citizens have taken upon themselves to audit the voter rolls, because our government does not. And they have found hundreds and thousands of ineligible voters. Some of these citizens have come before officials only to be disparaged and ignored. Many of our elections are decided by less than 100 votes and some by less than 10 votes. Inaccurate voter rolls are an incontestable fact. The Election Integrity Project California reported that they found 1,834,749 more registered voters than eligible citizens in the state voter rolls, including the active and inactive voters. HAVA was enacted due to the 2000 Bush-Gore election debacle, which greatly divided voters and destroyed vote trust. Simply articulated, if voter rolls are not accurate and compliant, elections cannot be certified as compliant or accurate, meeting the standards set within the HAVA. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ralph Robles, R-O-B-L-E-S. I am a veteran. HAVA was designed to provide a zero-trust model for voting systems, which includes transparency to address trust issues when using electronic voting machines. Although election fraud existed in individual local races, these widespread trust issues did not exist before electronic mechanical machines. In addition, HAVA falls under the Civil Rights Act, therefore certifying inaccurate or non-compliant election violates every citizen's civil rights when elections are not accurate or election laws have been violated. Financial reasons to comply with the HAVA. Not only is HAVA a federal law, but because this county has accepted federal money pursuant to HAVA, it is also under the contract law. This county entered a contract with the federal government when it accepted funds for the Help America Vote Act. The Board of Supervisors voted to accept these funds. County Council signed off on the contracts, and the ROV/clerk recorder accepted these funds. County Council signed off on the contracts, and clerk recorder agreed to comply with the terms of that contract. If this county follows California law, and specifically AB 969, the county cannot meet the contractual requirements of the Help America Vote Act. If the county intends to follow California law, the county will deprive the citizens of the transparency required, resulting in a misappropriation of government funds. Failing to follow the federally mandated HAVA, the county would have to return the HAVA funds to the federal government. If the county returns the HAVA funds, the county cannot pay for the election equipment that the county is required by California law to use.
Dennis McLean, MC, capital L-E-A-N. Morning, Chairman and Board. Each of you swore an oath to the United States Constitution and to the Constitution of the State of California. Both constitutions guarantee citizens the right to have their vote accurately counted and to elect their representatives. Your oath is not to the government, but to the Constitution and the people you represent. Certifying uncertifiable elections in a federal election can reach the level of treason. Do not assume just because county officials, election officials, have not been held accountable to this point that they will not be held accountable now and in the future. We pray those involved do not expose themselves or the county to this financial obligation. We respectfully demand that the county comply with both California and the federal Constitution rather than following newly enacted unconstitutional California laws. First, the process must be transparent and the counts must be verified. Second, only eligible voters shall be allowed to vote. To meet these requirements, the county should have one-day hand-count elections requiring ID to vote and mail-in ballots to legitimate absentee voters. Your thoughtful consideration of matters contained in this letter and the requirements of your oath to the United States and the California Constitutions are greatly appreciated. The favor of a reply is also requested. Signed by the James V. Robinson, Kern County Committee Chairman, Assembly, New California State. Thank you.
My name is Charles Shen. I'm a retired Marine and a concerned citizen. They say that government can't know where it's going if it doesn't document where it's been or where the start was. In December of 2023, concerned citizens brought to this board and to the Elections Department Judicial Watch's notice and letter of intent to sue the state of California, Secretary of State, and ROVs in 47 counties. Kern County was one of those counties. We had 57 deficiencies in the 2020 to 2022 EVAS report. That's an election administration and voting survey. That's the tool from the EAC that all the county clerks are supposed to use to document how the elections are run and how all the voting takes place. We had 57 deficiencies. That brings us to November of 2024. We have a new EVAS report that is due from the last 2 years to this month. We would like the Board of Supervisors to keep their eye on this report. It must be a complete report, unlike the last EVAS report that Kern County submitted and wound up getting us involved in a Judicial Watch lawsuit. And also, I would like to just remind elections that in January 23rd of this year, we were supposed to have a 5-year report of past removals submitted by Chairman Couch's request, and we're still waiting for that. I think that's all I've got. Thank you.
I was disturbed once again hearing words of people here that might be accused of being treasonous, as one of the speakers had. This is the same kind of stuff that goes on at the County Board of Education, accusing board members of being pedophiles because they didn't vote for a certain way. Even though the majority were conservatives and they voted a different way, the pedophile word was used. Now I'm hearing the treason word today. I want to let you know that we may all be of different political philosophies up here, but I do appreciate all of you and all the comments you have to hear sometimes. And I just hope we can find a way around this so we can all come together and be Kern County residents that I know that we can all become. And the word treason, it's being carelessly thrown around. There are some very serious implications when that is, and I certainly can't see any sign of anyone who works for this county as being guilty of treason or anything like that. So I just want to let you know that I do appreciate you and the county staff and everyone. Thank you.
I'm going to refer, maybe this has already been done, but I want to make sure it's done. This letter that refers to, it's got the headline, which is basically cease and desist. Can I refer that to our county council, and is it appropriate for us to have it sounds like it is, a closed session discussion about this?
I believe so. I'll take a deeper look at it for those purposes, but yes.
Did you get a copy of it already?
I do have one.
Okay.
Chairman,
thank you.
Since you asked, I'm going to just ask it now to be done with it. So the group that came before us had some questions about AB 969, and I think they had opposition to the urgency measure back in 2023, which I'm not familiar with. They also had potential conflict of interest charges between federal and state law. I don't know what those are, but more importantly is I don't know, they never explained what AB 969 does. So if you know now, can you maybe weigh in? That might be helpful for some context.
If you give me just a minute.
If not, we can treat it later.
I'll grab it up and be able to read it to you. But if you proceed, then come back to me.
Yeah,
I'll have it.
Yeah.
Thank you. So as soon as I started looking into it, I remembered that at one point I knew a bit more about this. In kind of mid-2023, a Northern California county passed an ordinance that required only hand counting and terminated the contract with Dominion, which was the voting machine system that Northern California county used. In response to that, the California legislature passed Assembly Bill 969, which then added and amended a number of California election code statute sections. And what the statute says, in very much of a shorthand, is that local election officials are prohibited from performing only a manual count or a hand counting of ballots in an election, a general election where there are more than 1,000 registered voters, or if it's a special election, if there are more than 5,000 registered voters. And then the second part of the bill requires or mandates that should a county cancel or terminate its contract with a certified voting machine company such as Dominion, that it cannot do that unless there is already a contract in place with a different company. So the bill is directly in response to action that another county took.
A different company that is certified?
Yes, it has to be a certified
Are they certified
company.
with the state?
Yes.
They are.
Yeah. And so it was enacted as urgency legislation, meaning that it took effect immediately because of the upcoming election that was, I think it took effect prior to the March primaries. so that this one county couldn't have only hand counting.
Okay, very helpful. Thank you.
What prompted us to ask you about that was the cease and desist letter we had received, and that subject has been referred to you and your office for a closed session discussion for the board.
That's correct.
Do I have that right? Okay. Thank you. All right. That takes us to the consent.
Chairman, before we move on, could I add a couple things to that?
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't see you punched in here.
No problem. I just wanted to point out that this is another example of legislation that's gone through without the county being aware of it or getting a chance to weigh in on it. The county, other groups had weighed in on it. The county, the County Association, or excuse me, California Association of Clerks weighed in on it in March of last year. And by August of last year, over 40 people had commented in opposition and over a dozen in support. And so this is just another example of what I brought up with some of our efforts in engaging at the state and federal level. This is something that we should have been aware of, that we should have been able to take a position on if the board decided to, or at least had that option. So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention.
Thank you.
I did overhear a bit of the discussion. Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Jim Robinson, Robinson. Sorry about that. I did overhear a little bit of the palaver that Supervisor Perez had mentioned, wondering about the urgency of things. If you read the statute with regards to AB 969, it said this act is an urgency statute necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, or safety within the meaning of Article 4 of the California Constitution. An emergency decree on something of this nature, I believe, legally doesn't have any standing as a real emergency. All right. And with regards to AB 969, while it was in fact brought about and brought to the attention of the state by Shasta County, all right, the work itself was already into going ahead and see to it that any county had the actual jurisdiction to go ahead and determine exactly how they were going to conduct their elections. As lesser magistrates, the ROV, the registrar of voters, is a lesser magistrate. All of you are lesser magistrates. You can, in fact, if you're standing on constitutional ground, refuse any sort of an edict that comes down out of the capital of this particular state. So this is what this particular cease and desist order went to. And again, just a reminder, you went over this morning with regards to the lost my train of thought, excuse me. This morning with regards to the conflict between the HABA Act and AB 969, because you've got federal law and California law that are in conflict with each other. I would like to ask a question on a slightly different matter. This cease and desist order was delivered here to the Kern County Board of Supervisors at their desk on the fifth floor, I think it was, on the 15th of October. When one of the Kern Citizens for Freedom people were in here and asked about it on the 22nd during the morning session, I believe the response was that none of you had seen the cease and desist order, which had been delivered a week prior. And there was something very deliberate about that. So the question I have is, what is the chain of custody with regards to this? Because I
think that's on us. I think I'll speak for myself. I think that was my fault. I think it was delivered to my office with a whole bunch of other stuff that I just hadn't gotten through yet.
Okay, well,
so I don't think it was the fault of our clerk or anybody working for us. It was my own fault.
All right, my understanding, I was not here, so this is conjecture, but I understand that all of the supervisors who were here said that they had not seen or reviewed this. And I was kind of curious about that. And this was read at the morning session today. And I was wondering, was this the first time that the supervisors actually had taken a look at this?
No.
It was not?
No, I'm speaking for myself again. I had seen it after I said I hadn't seen it yet. I went through my mail and there it was.
Okay.
So I saw it back on or around the 22nd.
Okay, just wondering about that particular chain of custody there. I was hoping that had gotten a little bit sooner, because I took this very seriously when I delivered it.
Understood.
And I hope that you guys can take it seriously too. And this is, in fact, a blatant conflict between state and federal election law.
We have agendized it, or it will be agendized for a closed session discussion because we took it as a legal threat, which is, we should, and that's fine. So that gives us the opportunity to talk about it with our attorney.
Gentlemen, madam, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson.